Yay! Amazing! Oh, awesome. Perfect. Thank you for working with me here. This is the first time we're doing it on Instagram Live, so we're bound to have issues come up. But thank you for joining me.
Hi.
Awesome. Well, also thank you to folks joining and watching. I really love, doing this in this format in case you've missed some of our interviews in the past. I'm going to jump in and give a little background on Rise Together. And then Danielle, I'd love if you could kind of tell us a bit about yourself and we'll jump in after that. So thanks guys for being on live. This is awesome. In case you don't know much about Rise Together, it started because Los Angeles is in crisis, but it doesn't have to be this way. We know that together as Angelinos, we can create the city that we want to live in. And a huge part of that is being involved in local elections. Local elected officials impact our lives a lot more than people in DC, especially when it comes to the issues that we all care about, like can we afford to live here? Are our tires getting torn up by potholes? All those things are things that our local elected officials do. So we're hosting this candidate interview series to make the 2022 elections a little bit more accessible for everyone. And just to be clear, it is not part of our endorsement process, and none of it is like an indication of support or opposition to any candidate. It's just to give people a chance to get to know candidates and vice versa. So with that, before I hear about your background, Danielle, I'd love to just kind of lay the foundation for our conversation. So can you kind of tell us what a city councilor does and how that impacts like our everyday lives?
Well, thank you, first of all, and good evening to everybody joining Instagram Live. Hi. I first want to say thank you to Rise Together for giving me the opportunity to share why I'm running for the seat. And again, my name is Danielle Sandoval. So the city council member actually oversees the district. We have the 15 districts. And part of my district is Wilmington, Watts, San Pedro, Harbor Gateway, and Harbor City. And so basically it's services. And, of course, part of that is also the budget. But historically, there has, in our district, we don't have a lot of voters really engaging, not only in the elections, but also civically. And what I've seen over the years is being a community advocate, a small business owner, and, as a mom, I really dove into getting engaged for almost a decade. And I'm running to empower the voters who are often left out in the policy and decision-making process. And to be quite honest, downtown special interests have little interest in helping improve our quality of life. And, for working families, especially within our communities of color. I would be the councilwoman who would advocate for more constituent services, resources to assist the unsheltered, and ensure that good paying jobs exist.
Yeah.
And not only with that, we need to demand safer and cleaner environments for our children. I have walked throughout the entire district, even visiting 27, 28 elementary schools. And our streets are they're filthy, quite honestly. The illegal dumping, people are dying in our streets and we're watching that. And the mental health aspect and how that affects us in our everyday lives, and just the children going to school and trying to learn. So that's another reason why, we're in a fight.
Yeah.
We're in a real fight, and it's a fight against the establishment. And they prefer to continue business as usual. And so I stepped up and I said, we have to break this. Homelessness is rising. Crime is rising. Storefronts are closing. And we have to break this cycle.
Yeah.
And so, I've seen the councilman on
Hmm.
your website. And basically, in a nutshell, that's why I'm running.
Yeah.
That's exactly why I'm running. And I'm
Amazing.
tired. And everybody's tired. So we're in a real fight against the establishment.
Yeah, well, I really appreciate you kind of sharing that. I know obviously you touched on it, but I just kind of love to hear like how you got to the point. Like, obviously, there's a lot of reasons to run, but what made you be like, okay, no, I'm the person I want to run?
So for the past decade, I really got civically engaged with local politics and what was going on in our communities. I was a small business owner, and I couldn't get the resources from the city. I was told that the money wasn't in the budget, and it was in regards to cutting trees. And also, I own property, and trying to get city services to come out and do the paving of our alleys, which are horrendous. It has been a struggle over the years, and it still is.
Hmm.
Um, so I closed my business and I started advocating in the community full time, like 80 hours a week, full time. I mean, answering constituents' concerns, how to connect at 311. And I really saw the disconnect
Hmm.
from our local electeds, often not even a phone call would be returned or an email.
Hmm.
Um, Recently, we just got a skate park in Harbor City, and children have already been hit, and we've been requesting a light to be put on that street. My daughter, a couple of years ago, was riding her bike to school, and she did get hit by a car, and ironically, we've
Oh
been
my God.
advocating for that light. So I think the frustration is what really drove me, and really understand how our government works.
Hmm.
I've been for the past 6 years on the Neighborhood Council Budget Advocates, and we go into every single city department. We evaluate, we create the white paper, we go to the mayor, we present it, we talk
Hmm.
about the resource that is needed, and then we go and we present in front of the City Council Budget and Finance. 6 years ago, we made recommendations for tiny homes, also using the storage containers and repurposing them
Hmm.
for housing. This was 6 years ago. Imagine if they actually did it 6 years ago, what those numbers would look like today.
Hmm.
And all of a sudden, they're being erected all around the city. 6 years ago, I mean, our city works so slow, and we're out of
Hmm.
time. We're out of time. And part of that is of my platform is the public transparency and accountability.
Hmm.
We need a department, and I will work towards creating a department of public transparency and accountability, and it will ensure that oversight of taxpayer dollars and alley city operations are being evaluated, its efficiencies, and what we
Hmm.
can do better. I mean,
Amazing. Yeah.
it's time.
No, I want to like touch on everything that you just brought up. Those were all things that like I want to hear more about. So one of them, I think specifically, and especially, obviously, I'm going to ask you like a little bit more kind of about homelessness and those kinds of issues. But I think a good place to start with that is around affordability. Um, like I love hearing from people who love LA. I love that like hearing from people who are working to make it better. But I think a lot of times people just have to leave their home because it's simply too expensive to live here. So I'd love to hear kind of about how you could, as a counselor, make the city more affordable for the average Angelino.
So Ron Gaprin put out a report 2020, and initially when we voted for the HHH funds and to do the building of affordable homes, the cost was supposed to be around 300,000. I think it was found that it was 500,000. A couple of projects were like 750,000. So the market has been dictating what affordable is.
Hmm.
And I am a homeowner, and I do own uh, rental properties as well. It's absolutely ridiculous. My son just came home from the army. He's an army sergeant, and he can't afford to purchase his own home. He can't afford to rent an apartment. And so, as councilwomen, I think we really need to look at all the different aspects, which is environmental, the cost, um, uh, cl- clean energy,
Hmm.
also the cost of supplies, supply and demand. Right now in my district, what's the port? Everything's out in the ocean and the prices are going sky high.
Hmm.
Plus we have the refineries. So the gas is just out of control. We're looking at what, $5 a gallon. So looking at analyzing all of that
Hmm.
and really coming up with a plan on how we're going to cut costs. Also,
Awesome.
every time we raise the wage, costs go up. So we always stay the same. We're never really moving forward. We're just kind of at a standstill. So we really need to look at that and really
Hmm.
being an advocate with the state and the county, and then looking at sales tax and taxes all around.
Yeah. Amazing. Well, thank you. That is really helpful. Also, something else that you talked about was kind of public faith in government. Um, I think specifically, faith in the city council has been shattered in recent years. Obviously, there's the string of indictments that have happened. And then I think just kind of like the slower building issue is that, as you were talking about, you know, taxpayers voted to be taxed more to
Yeah,
help people get housing.
I
And
was one of
yet,
them.
yeah, there's homelessness has gotten worse and there are more people on the street, and that's not like, and there are more people suffering even though, we voted to have a better system. So I think that is a large reason why people feel so hopeless. What would you do to kind of rebuild that trust in the government and specifically in the city council?
I've been trying to do that for the past 10 years as an advocate, and I've been successful. People call me and they said, "Oh, we need resources. Who are we going to call? We're going to call Danielle because she's honest, she's loyal, and she's going to tell us the truth." I've been doing that, and I would continue to do that. Part of the problem is that our the council person's offices, they don't do the engagement, they don't do the outreach, they don't give the people the resources. So that's how you create trust,
Hmm.
is when you start working with the community, not showing up to a photo op to hand out a turkey.
Yeah.
It's when you are actually engaged 24 hours a day, and be honesty is a part of it. We can't move forward with this project because the money isn't there. How are we going to get the money? Let's look at our revenue resources.
Hmm.
Let's look at how we can get more bang for our buck. And our representatives aren't doing that. They're not being honest. They're used to saying, "I will do this for you, make all the promises in the world." And then when it doesn't pan out, that's when you start losing the trust.
Yeah.
And so we need to rebuild that. And I've been very successful in building bridges, not burning them, keeping those contacts, making sure that we are staying engaged, networking, and connecting and unifying other organizations with other organizations.
Hmm.
That's how we're going to do it. They like to say, "We're in this together. We are united. We will fight and advocate." But you know what? That's not really happening. And I am a very honest person. If I know that we can't, do a project or it's going to take too long, let's figure it out and how we can actually make it work. Everybody has a great idea. Everybody has a great solution. But when
Hmm.
you bring them all together to the same table and you're working together, it can work.
Yeah.
It can work.
Yeah.
So I'm about unifying our entire district and all of us working together.
Hmm. Amazing. Well, that is so awesome. I think that we're pretty much out of time, but I do want to kind of just give you the chance before we jump off to just kind of, make your case. And especially, as people are coming out to vote, Just kind of, you know, what should they look for you? Like, where can they find? Obviously, if you are watching this live, you can just go to her like you can go to Danielle's Instagram and find it there. But if there's anything else, just want to give you the last word.
Thank you. I really appreciate that. So yes, you can find my full platform at www.sandoval, the number 4la.com. And you can also find us on Twitter and Facebook. And I'm in the trenches 24 hours a day. I don't stop. I'm a machine. I just keep working and working. And I'm not going to stop, and nobody can stop me because I am a strong Latina. I am the only woman running in this race. And I would be the very first woman of color to hold this seat. So I also would like to just touch on a few things that we didn't touch on. And that was we're in a pandemic. And so we need to, we need to really communicate with the other departments. There's variance in, the city, state, and county. And but the whole platform is on there that relates to the city health officer liaison. It's very important that we get back to how we were pre-pandemic. But in short, I just want to say again, I'm running for LA City Council to uplift the community's voice in LA City Hall politics, fight for good paying jobs, and ensure that we have real transparency in the LA City Council and end this cycle of corruption. Big special interest money, and we need to really elevate the lives of working families and those who are struggling to recover from this pandemic. Mm-hmm. So please visit my website and follow me on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Thank you.
Amazing. Well, thank you so much. And thank you everybody who is live. I'm just like really encouraged to see people sticking on. I love doing this and love informing voters. So in case you want to share these or, missed part of it, this is going to go here on our Instagram, and it will also go on our YouTube page afterward where you can find other interviews we've done. So amazing. Have a great evening. And thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.